So the story of this buck actually starts a couple of years ago. Josh had been getting pictures of this buck very intermittently. Actually showed up at one of his places there for 3 or 4 days during the rut, or actually at the tail end of the rut, and he disappeared just as fast as he showed up. And Josh was never able to go in and hunt him that year. Next year, almost to the day, that buck showed up again. Kind of the same scenario. I think Josh had hunted him once that year, but had to be out of town for other things, and was never able to seal a deal on him. It wasn't until actually the afternoon that Josh had killed wires this year. I drove up there to his place and to take a look at that magnificent buck and congratulate him, and we taped him out and everything. And Josh looked at me and he said, that buck I call Kong, he just showed back up today. I just got a picture of him. And what would you think about going in there and try to kill that buck? And at first I was a little put off by it, and that's not my style, and I like to hunt, find my own deer, and Josh said it would mean a lot to me if you went in there and tried to kill that buck. And I'm headed out of town. I already tagged out. Sarah's tagged out this year, and so I met him a couple of days later at with the landowner. Josh and I went over there and talked to the landowner, and they were completely fine with it, and got a written permission slip, and it was game on from there. So I went in there the very next afternoon to hunt him, and I thought this is going to be simple. I go in there and just walk into this spot and kill this buck, and it didn't happen exactly that way. I went in there second evening and saw every deer that it had pictures of. It had a couple small bucks, a couple 3-year-old bucks in there, and a bunch of does and yearlings and things. And this buck Kong, nowhere to be seen that evening. And actually, it wasn't until about midnight he showed up on my camera. And so I wasn't sure what happened. He had been there the first afternoon, and I thought it was going to be an easy kill. And next afternoon, he showed up right around shooting light. A day or two after that, I went in to put out some more feed, put batteries in my camera, make sure everything was good. Walked out of there. It was on a Monday, and Monday afternoon, sure enough, half hour, 45 minutes before shooting light, Kong shows up. And I thought that was weird. That I had been in there the first afternoon. He showed up that afternoon shortly after we left out of there, and then I was in there again on that Monday, and sure enough, he showed up that afternoon as well. Tuesday, I went in there to go and hunt him, and again, nowhere to be found, nowhere to be seen. Saw a lot of other deer. He didn't show up. Actually, didn't show up at all that Monday night. And I thought, that's awful odd, and I started figuring things out, and I figured out that the only place that he could be living and know that I was in there, was right there really close to my blind. And I thought, I'm going to go in there Wednesday and make a dry run and see if this happens for a third time in a row. And sure enough, I went in there Wednesday, did the same thing I did on that Monday, dumped some food out, checked my camera, everything was good, and get out of there. Wednesday afternoon, 45 minutes before shooting light, there he is, showed up again. I thought, you know what? Friday, I'm going to kill you. And I had him figured out, I thought, at that point. But I didn't know exactly how I was going to get in there. I had to really think about how I was going to get in there, because he had obviously seen me walk in. Knew when I was in there. It seemed like he was hunting me. He was smart enough to hunt me just as much as I was hunting him, and he had outwitted me to that point. So I enlisted the help of a friend, and I figured that if the deer had thought that I was in there and dumped my feed and checked my camera just as I had done numerous days before and was out of there, I had a much better chance on killing him that afternoon. That Friday rolls around, pressure was high, it was getting down to 18 degrees that night, really clear and cold, the wind direction was good, so I thought, it's going to be on tonight. So we go in there, me and a buddy. I go in there and dump my food. I drop my stuff in my blind on the way there, walk out of there. My buddy takes off, and I thought, this might just be crazy enough to work.
It's Friday, December 7th.
Overall, it was a really slow evening in deer movement. You know, I thought that with pressure being as high as it was and the temperature, you know, going down as low as 18 degrees that night, I thought I would have a lot more deer movement. But, you know, I had that doe and yearling walk in there, and they were in front of me for a few minutes. I saw the mature doe look over her shoulder behind her, and I knew that something else was coming in. And I was able to kind of turn around and peek out of the blind, and what I saw when I looked out of the blind just amazed me. I saw the tips of his long main beams and his nose sticking out, and his nose was going in the air. He was scent checking and winding and checking, and I knew that there was no other buck around that looked like he did, and that had to be him. And he finally got within about 3 or 4 feet of clearing into my shooting lane, and he locked up. He was really nervous, and he just backed out of there just as fast as he came in. And when he did that, my heart just sank, and I thought the hunt was over just as fast as it started. And he backed out of there, and I'm not sure what he was thinking or what he was smelling, or, you know, 1,000,001 things run through your head when something like that happens, and I was just heartbroken. And the only thing I could do was just sit there and wait and hope that he was going to turn around and come back my direction. So after the deer goes out of my sight, he backs out of there and turns, and he might have walked, you know, 15 or 20 or 30 feet. He was out of my sight, out of my blind. I only had a really small window to see through, but my trail camera actually caught the video of this, and I'm not sure why, but he turned and started to make his way back in.
Kill him.
So after the shot, I felt really good about it. The deer wheeled out of there, and I couldn't see him very far because it's really thick in there, but I was pretty confident in the shot. But the first thing I did was call Josh.
All right, Mark, just sent me the video. Oh, that deer is smoked. Guys, look at this. Look, look, look. Done, son. Done. He shot that buck right through the heart. Oh, yes, Mark, congratulations, buddy, on an absolute world-class buck. That thing is a giant. I'm so proud of you, man. He shoots so well, too. That was a 33-yard shot. I mean, he pinwheeled him. That's impossible for that buck to hold that arrow. Yeah. Dude, congratulations, man. You killed him. Right. Dude, it's impossible for him to be alive.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this.
No problem, Mark.
Dude, I appreciate it.
I know you do, buddy. Dude, you just killed an absolute giant. I don't even know what to say. That was a perfect shot. I mean, it went right through his heart.
Thank you. I needed somebody to confirm that video. I know it was a perfect shot. I felt really good about it. I was holding forever for the release went off. I was held perfect and aimed, and dude, everything was great. But man, I didn't hear him fall. I didn't hear him crash. Nothing. I just needed somebody else to watch that thing.
Yeah.
He's dead, right?
Dude, you went through the top of his aorta. I mean, it's impossible for him to went more than 60 yards. You could crawl out of the blind right now and go put your hands on him.
Alright, I just called Jeff. He's on the way, so I'm gonna probably just go get him right now when he gets here. It'll be after dark.
Perfect. I think that's a great idea, buddy.
Alright, dude. Just leave it at that deal.
Alright, we'll see you. Bye. Oh, man. Mark's. Oh, I don't even know what to say. I'm so pumped for him. Well deserved deer by a great guy. Oh, congrats, Mark. Seriously, on a buck of a lifetime, buddy. You deserve it.
So after talking to Josh on the phone, I called a buddy of mine, and he came up and met me there, and we waited about an hour after the shot to start on the blood trail.
It's December 7th. Tonight is supposed to be 18 degrees. Coldest night of the year so far. It is cold. Super clear, high pressure today. I knew today was going to be the day. I shot this buck about an hour ago. I feel pretty good about the shot, but I gave it just a little bit of time just to be on the safe side. You can't be too safe, so we're going to walk in here and see what we see. I'm pretty confident that it was a good hit, but let's go check it out. That's an arrow. Looks like it's soaked really well. Look at that blood there. Oh yeah. Quite a bit of good blood here right in the shot. We'll leave that right there. We're going to pick up this blood and see what we find. There he is. Here he is, dude. Dude,
Look at that thing.
he's a hammer.
Oh Lord, when I saw him on the hook, dude, he just. Well,
Look at that. What a giant.
oh Lord, look at that.
He's beautiful.
There's not what you can say about that. Oh. You know, I haven't hunted this deer very long, actually. Only a couple of weeks, actually. A great friend of mine, who's an even better friend this evening, had just shot a really giant buck. And in Ohio here, you can only kill one buck. And he said, listen, man, we've had this deer that's showed up the last couple of years, and he always disappears. He always shows up when we're out of town. I've hunted him, not been able to kill him. He disappears, but he's there right now. You know, I've been getting pictures of him. And I'm headed out of town, and I've already killed a buck. I'd like for you to go in there and hunt him. And
Dude,
to offer something like this is unreal. I would have never expected it. You know, it takes a true friend and somebody that is selfless to say, here, man, let me go get you permission on this spot, because I know you can kill this deer. And
wow.
all I can say is thank you. All I can say is thank you.
Turn him here. Let me get a look at him.
The mass on that thing is just unreal. Josh thinks he's 6 or 7 years old. I would say that he's at least that. Oh man, but the pictures just don't do this guy justice.
No, dude, that deer's enormous.
He is such a big, heavy, beautiful buck.
And a perfect shot. Good job, Mark.
He walked in. Some does were in front of me, a doe and a yearling. They kind of split in a hurry, and you know, I thought that they might have winded me or something. Wasn't sure, but they blew out of there. I kind of peeked in the blind a little bit. I just saw the tip of his main beam out there, looking at him. Like, oh, I grabbed my bow and I'm getting everything ready, you know. He hung up there for quite a few minutes, actually, and he actually turned and was headed away. And he stood there for a few minutes, and I thought that, you know, I wasn't sure if he winded me. The wind just flat died tonight, and I thought the thermals were dropping, and you know, I had a good direction of wind, but you know, when you don't have the wind, you know, I was just thinking, oh, he's got me, he's winded me. And he's turned around and started heading back the direction he came, like he winded me. And he stood there a minute, and I had my bow in hand. I said, Lord, please just let me get a crack at this beast. Please just let me have a chance at him. And 30, 45 seconds later, you know, he stood there and lifted that head up like that and turned around, started making his way back towards me in front of me. He hung up, you know, right behind these two big trees that were there, the same place he hung up, you know, prior, and lowered the head and started walking out there. And he was in front of me for a while before I was able to shoot him, you know. And I had to sit there and watch him. He was just quartering too steep, and I'm thinking any second, all I need is just a little break, you know. And then he caught something behind him, and he spun that head around, opened that body up, and I thought, oh Lord, here's my chance, you know. I drew the bow back, it was on him, held it and held it and held it, and squeezed it off nice and pretty, and it went exactly where I was holding it. And I'm thankful, certainly thankful. Everything came together tonight. I couldn't be more proud to sit behind this deer.
Well, congrats, dude. You deserve it, man.
It's a beauty. Look at that thing. Goodness. Oh, man. You know, it's easy to get caught up and be selfish, you know, especially with a deer of this caliber. And it happens all the time. You know, for Josh to offer the opportunity up, for me to go and hunt this deer and to do the work that he did, that he put in, on my behalf, is something to be said, about his character. And I wish more people in the hunting community would offer opportunities up, for their friends and for their children, and to get more people interested in hunting and learn the hunting lifestyle, what it's truly about. I think that's lost a lot in the hunting industry. A lot of it is, kind of all about me, and people can be selfish about hunting opportunities. And I think that us as hunters need to reach out to others in the non-hunting community, and hunters alike, and children, and get more people involved in the sport. And I've been blessed to harvest some really awesome deer in my life. And there's, this particular deer means a lot to me. He's a great deer and an old mature buck, and but the value of the friendship and how this came about, and that somebody would offer that to me is probably the most significant part of the deer harvest to me.
Thank you so much for your support, and if you want to join the bow hunting family, hit that subscribe button and make sure to turn on notifications to be one of the first to see our new videos posted. If you're new to our channel, check out our other videos. We have over 70 bow hunts that I think you'll enjoy. And if you'd like to keep up with us daily, make sure you go over to Instagram and give us a follow there, where we post every single day and it's always outdoor related.